Okay. What the heck? Camera's actually following me for once. What the heck? Finally, the camera normally doesn't follow me, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm doing these videos and doesn't rotate like this. It usually doesn't do it, but now it's actually doing it for some reason. Finally it works. But anyway, you see the title. It's got to be stated. Borrowed time for TNA. Why? This is the first tapings that we have that are left. If you don't understand, TNA does not do live shows. They don't. The only time when they do something live is during Impact or now TNA Plus or the pay-per-views. What do we got here? The first tapings of whatever is left from Scott. Now, I haven't checked to see if there's anything new on Scott D'Amore. I don't know if he's been approached by AEW. I don't know if he's been approached by WWE. I don't know if Anthem has gone back to him and say, hey, our bad, come back. I don't even know if he's tried to go back to the same bank and maybe try to get more money and again offered Anthem more money. You never know. But I'm going to make this very clear to you. This is the deal. This is the first of whatever recordings that have been made by TNA under Scott D'Amore. And yes, I'm making it very clear right now, the camera angles were not good, neither is the zooming. That has always been the MO of current Impact now TNA. That's just how it is. That's the deal. And I hate it. Because it's not that someone like me who does does the reviews that would like to pull an image off so you can be able to see. I'm also watching the show because I like and love TNA. And I want to see what's going on in the freaking ring when they do stuff like this. Why? But that is under Scott. And we have whatever finite amount of recordings we have before they're done. And the new president has already done the recordings, or they've already started doing recordings after they've now made their talk with the roster and the people who set up the ring, who set up the lighting, the people who sell the merch, the wrestlers themselves. Right now they've been talking and probably already they're scheduling the new tapings. That's got to be the deal. We may have maybe 4 or maybe 5 more tapings left because they usually do 4 to 6 tapings within a month or so. So that kind of covers almost 2 months. So this is going to be the big question. What are we really getting? Let's start. Jake something versus Kaz. Mainly due to the fact of Kaz turning on Eric Young, which I'll talk about in a minute. That's what this match was about. That Jake something felt insulted and upset to see Kaz act the way he is. And we have this match. I'm going to tell you this. It was a rough match. At least at the very beginning. It got better. And I'm not saying that Jake something did bad work in the ring and needed a Kaz. But when you see how they were working in the ring, it felt like a little off. But that doesn't mean it was bad. It was just a little off. In the end, Kaz won by cheating. Let's make it clear. He grabbed the rope once he rolled up Jake something, and he also gouged his eyes. Let's make it clear. That's what he did. He's going to do this, and I do believe he will join the system eventually. This is just me. I don't know if he will, but I do believe that there's a good chance he will eventually be approached by Eddie Edwards and Lisha and say, look, we're both Kowalski guys. We're both brothers. Join us. Join my crew. Become a member of the system, and you'll get what you want. Come on. And that's what I believe is going to happen. That the system will approach him, but just not yet. Jordan Grace versus Savannah Evans with a Gazelle Shaw at ringside. Now, it wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't a very long match. And we know who was going to win. And seeing that, look, Jordan Grace is not called the Juggernaut for nothing. Seeing that she's taken a, maybe what, 190, 180 pound easily, maybe near 200 pound Savannah Evans. She's not a skinny woman. She's not a small woman. She's not a chubby woman. She's a big ass woman that could be what would she be? A basketball player. She's big enough to be one. So seeing that she got lifted up in the Muscle Buster by Jordan Grace shows that woman is freaking diesel, man. She's like, she's got it. But then when you see her after the match was over, and Gazelle Shaw lost it afterward because when Savannah Evans was told to nail her before our match and she couldn't get it done, Gazelle Shaw got into the ring with the X, beats the crap out of, well, not just a Jordan Grace, but also a Savannah Evans. She nails her in the head with the X. So it looks like she took to heart what Gail Kim said. She did tell her, you don't need Vidal, who is now supposedly fired from TNA. So now, Savannah Evans looks like she got her walking papers. Bye-bye, baby. Bye-bye. It wouldn't be a bad thing to see Savannah Evans by herself, unless they're going to stick her again with, oh, please don't. Please don't stick her with Tasha Steelz. I want to see Savannah Evans on her own so she can develop. I know not everybody likes Savannah Evans. Many people think she couldn't wrestle at all, and she probably can't talk to shit. But I'm the type of person that says, like what happened with Trick Williams. Look what happened with Trick. That boy whooped that Trick. I said that when he was reaching a point that Trick Williams needed to go off on his own and show that he could do it. No one said anything about Trick. No one cared about Trick. No one gave a fuck about Trick. But I said I want to see if he can do something. What did we get? Trick Williams is so freaking over. Not just because of whoop that Trick. He proved it by just being a good wrestler who has a good persona and can sell when it's time. Not perfect, but he can do it. So now, if they're finally separating Savannah Evans by herself, finally, to let her try and wrestle alone without anyone there to support her, no Tasha Steelz, no Gazelle Shaw, no Vidal, nobody. Just let her be by herself and let's see what she can do. I'm all for it. I want to see if she can do something. Now, can she do something? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know if she can even talk. She rarely talks. And most of her matches are usually in tag matches or someone has to help her. So this is going to be interesting. Moving on. The best of 3. Yeah. ABC versus the Grizzled. Well, I'm not going to call them vets. I'd rather call them veterans. They sound better as the Grizzled Young Veterans. Now, of course, that's what they did in NXT, but it's all right. You can call them vet or veterans, whichever you want. I'm calling them veterans. Good match. They're playing up on Ace Austin's arm. I'm about to say Austin Evans. Ace Austin's arm. They are playing it up. He had the tape on, so that went along with the story, which wasn't so bad. Now they're tied up. And now I got to make this clear. I'm skipping a lot of the stuff in between the match due to the fact of, let's make this clear. You're telling a story with 2 sets of guys. One that just came in, ones who are very established. And the key of this is due to the fact that the ones who just came in got jaded because they had to be in a big smudge of a match. And that's the problem. It's not a very strong story. It just isn't. Even though they're focusing on Ace Austin's arm, it's still not a very strong story. The best of 3 is the only story they have. And we will probably get it in No Surrender. I doubt they're going to do the final match this next Thursday. It's got to be at No Surrender on Friday. That's what I believe is going to happen. But the question's going to be, if the Grizzled Young Veterans do not win, where do you go with them next? That's going to be the biggest question. And that's going to be covering in the next tapings that we have. Because here's where it gets very interesting. Remember, whatever tapings that have been done so far are going to cover the Grizzled Young Veterans. What will Creative do now without a direction? Let's make it clear. Creative had a direction with Scott. Whether it's good or not, there's no more Scott. And whatever tapings they did, unless they're going to keep following the plan Scott did, who knows? Moving on. Steve versus Rhino for the Digital Media Championship. I said it before and I'll say it again. Call him Steve. He is Steve. He is what he is. Steve is Steve. I love Steve as he is. He's a crazy mofo. Now, I just wish they would shorten his name to Steve. He doesn't need to be Crazy Steve anymore. He needs to be something more. He needs to be Steve. If anyone from Impact Wrestling sees this, hiya. I know I've never been one of the biggest fans of a lot of your production, and sometimes I do not agree with your direction creatively, but I still love you. And I'm hoping everything works out, but I'm saying what I'm saying in this video because it's the truth. But if anyone could hear this, shorten Crazy Steve's name for a little while and make it Steve. Make it Steve. Let his name, when he's called out, not say, Crazy Steve. No, Steve. Let it be that. Make him scare Josh's wife. He goes up to her one day when she says Crazy Steve, and he says, don't call me Crazy Steve. Call me Steve. Like that. She doesn't need to say it like that, but just scare her that she won't need to say Steve from now on. I truly believe will add more mileage to his character. I'm sorry. Did I believe that Rhino was going to win? No. Because there's no way they're going to take that off his waist. He's too over at this moment. They just sacrificed Tommy Dreamer to get Steve over. And I truly believe that it's the wisest thing they could have done. Steve, I think this is the best work Steve has done in quite a while. When he was working with Rosemary, Abyss, and it just always felt like he could be on his own and he could be a lot more than what he was going. I always felt that he just needed enough of a push. And even though he's working with Black Taurus, which was really good as a team, they never pulled the trigger on letting them be a tag team champions. And then Black Taurus, they never pulled the trigger on him either. Where is he now? I think he's gone to AAA unless he's working on Explosion, because I don't have it right now. When it comes down to it, he is there. And I truly believe with time, he can drop that title and go to the X Division and grab that title. He can be built up to be the right person to go into the main event eventually. Just they need time. Next. Here's a match that didn't happen. Joe Henry versus Diener didn't happen. Now, we know that Diener was approached by AJF. He was. Just like Rich Swann. And as Joe Henry comes out, his music is rapped to by AJF. Now, I want to make this clear. Do I believe AJ Francis can wrestle? I can't tell you yes or no. Because I haven't seen him in the ring yet. He's been gone from WWE. Hopefully he did get a little bit of work. And I don't know if he went to Scott's school and got some extra work done. I hope he did. But when it comes to the gift of gab and even rapping, I don't say nothing about it because he's good at it. And he rapped really well to Joe Henley's music. And Joe felt insulted and upset because, oh, I feel so upset. This is how other people feel. I don't feel good. This is horrible. At least, unless I'm a really bad guy for having a extra video on this guy, that would be evil, wouldn't it? And he looks at the camera and says, play the video. And what do we get? Barred, what was it called? I forgot what he was called. You are barred from diving. Dude, it was as funny as the rap was. The rap was not bad. It was not bad at all. I felt that he did a good job with the rap. Smoking, not bad. It was fine. But I think it was kind of overshadowed because they were just fucking with him when it came to that dive. And the mannequin going over the top ring rope and whoop. That one just made me laugh. I'm sorry. It just... I'm sorry, it made me laugh, and I'm laughing right now. I am laughing right now. There's no way, knowing that crazy mofo was stupid enough to try and do a helo over the top turn rope. And not only did he not do it, he might have messed up his knee while doing it. And then they insulted his ass by chewing him out, but using the mouth of WWE, Michael Cole. That's where the mouth comes in. And he is belittling him every time. Now, it's one of the rare times that I don't have a problem with someone getting chewed out. But now, they've taken what was a negative for AJF, and they're trying to turn it into a positive. Trying to take something that really must have pissed his ass off And they're trying to make something out of it, taking shit and making it lemonade, which I do agree with. It was funny what he went through, but now I'm kind of glad that they are trying to use what was a mistake on his part. Let's make this clear. He's not Angelo Dawkins. He is not that athletic. Angelo is very athletic, almost the same size as him, and he could do a hilo outside the ring. He just couldn't. Maybe now, because of what he's gone through, and he has gotten maybe extra training, maybe Scott's school, he has done it. I'm hoping. I'm begging that he got some training. If he thought he didn't need any training, and we see that he's doing a little of the same shit, but not taking advantage of the stupidness of him trying to do that hilo, that was a mistake on his part, and it's a big mistake that TNA didn't, or Impact at the time, didn't try to say, dude, you need to do this. I'm hoping that Scott convinced him to get more work. But I wouldn't mind him messing around at first, looking like he didn't get trained, but then he did. Let's move on. Now, next. Killer Kelly versus Danny Luna. I'm going to tell you, it was an okay match. And it looks like MK Ultra are still working together, so that's fine. If whatever problem they had done or had a problem with seems to be not there now, good. But it's like you're making MK Ultra cheat to win. Why? Why did you have to use Marsha Slamovich to cheat so Killer Kelly could win? Why? Sometimes I don't get it. You didn't need Killer Kelly to have help to win. They didn't need to do that. They didn't. I wouldn't have minded if they were so rough, but then they just messed up. But they stayed the same way they are. They're two aggressive women. Killer Kelly, who's my baby. Mwah. I mean, there are women on there. The women in that match, the woman in that match were not ugly. Danny Luna's a beautiful woman. Marsha's not bad, and neither is Jody Threat. But out of the four, I'm sorry. Killer Kelly's my girl. I'm sorry. She is beautiful. She may not have this. No, she don't have this. But you don't need always this. I'm sorry. You don't need them this big to be happy. And I learned a long time ago, being one of the rare type of guys, I didn't ask for it. I wasn't like I was looking for it. That I had a chance with relationship with two women who were voluptuous. One even bigger than the other. And I wasn't trying to just say, oh, I love your titties, I want to grab. No, I didn't do that. It's not like I was looking for it. I wasn't. But I was lucky to meet two people like that. But just to let you know, these don't make a better relationship. They're just, let's just say they're a plus. They're an extra added feature. But the real thing is whoever the woman is. And if it was reversed for a woman, a guy, or whatever. Let's move on. I just don't believe that even though they did win, and then we got DK coming out because DK wanted to stop them from beating up on Jody Threat and Danny, that was needed. Because now MK Ultra feels weaker, and they didn't need to feel weak. They didn't. I can understand if you did that with maybe Danny Luna, because she used to be with Subculture somewhat. But it doesn't feel like it was necessary. You could have had all three women stay strong, because how MK Ultra has been built for nearly a year. I would have liked to see them stay the same way they are, but that's just me. Moving on. Okay, I gotta say it. Ash of Elegance. Now, I don't know if anyone recognizes the guy that she's with, but if you had watched Impact Wrestling's Twitch channel, when Melissa Santos used to be there, when she couldn't be there, remember, if anybody remembers Brian Cage's wife, Melissa, she used to do it on let me give it to you like this. I was not 100% a fan of her. I didn't hate her, but I felt that she was very sloppy when she did her video chats on Twitch. well, not video chat. Basically, when she was on Twitch, she was way too lax on it. I'm not saying she had to be wearing a dress and stuff like that, no. But the problem I felt she was having was that she was sloppy. Now, understand, a daughter was there, and she was taking care of a daughter. But there are points where you need to be a little more presentable and not be so sloppy and mess up almost every stream. She literally was messing up on every stream. She couldn't get sound working. Sometimes she had to cursor in the screen. She dropped water all over her laptop. Sometimes I'm not saying that streamers don't eat when they're working. I understand that. But she only works 2 hours a week. 2 hours a week. You would think that she can maybe schedule something so her daughter would be with a relative and she can be at least a little careful. She was very sloppy most of the time. It was very rare she did it correctly. But Iceman sometimes covered for her, and that was the guy that we just saw. I remember him, and he's now the manager for Ash of Elegance. And she said simply, I will be coming to TNA next week, and it'll be my debut match. Now, I want to say this. When it comes to Ash of Elegance, I just saw Busted Open Radio with Bully Ray, with, I always forget the guy who runs on Sirius, and Mark Henry talk to her. They did like an 18-minute interview of her. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be watching for the next couple of weeks when she finally does appear and she does wrestle and she does her vid packs and her interviews. And I will give you an assessment of what she's done. If she is keeping her word and she's trying to be 100% different than compared to what she did in WWE, you will hear me tell her. She might hear about this video, which I doubt. But for Ash of Elegance, if she is willing to really put in the work and be different, not just promo-wise, wrestling style, her character in the ring, how she works the match, if she's going to be more of a daredevil, I will tell you. And it won't be because she's a good-looking woman with a great pair of tits. Because she was trying to glaze over when she was on Busted Open Radio where they said, I'm a pretty face. She was trying not to go like, look, they're saying like I'm a pretty face with a nice pair of tits. I think that's what she really wanted to say, but she was trying to be politically correct. Honey, if she watched this, girl, I know you were holding back. You wanted to say everyone's just talking about my tits and ass. Saying I'm a pretty face with a pair of tits and ass. I understand it. I know. It's hard. The way you look, you're sexy. Everybody wants to see everything in between your legs and on your chest, men and women alike. I understand it. I'm not trying to be disrespectul. I understand. But I'm going to give you a fair assessment on your ring attire, on your style in the ring. I won't go blow by blow. I will tell you if, for everyone else, and if she watches this, if you're doing all right, if you need to improve, if you are still where you are, which hopefully you have been, at least keep your level of wrestling, or have improved, or tried something new. I will say it. And if you guys don't like her, I will tell you if you're understanding or not. But I had to say this because she deserves that. Because if she tries to be like the Iconics who became the inspiration, who literally didn't do anything new. I wanted to see the inspiration different. But they literally did the same stick. They didn't do anything different. They lasted 6 months and then they left. And I felt very cheated. I wanted to see these women be something more than what WWE gave them. And a lot of people said they're nothing. And they went and did exactly what they said. They didn't try to be different. They went to the inspiration. They didn't need it. They needed to be different. It's all right to have a little bit of your original stick in a new routine. But if you're doing almost the exact same thing as you did before, where is the difference? And when it comes to Asha Elegance, if she acts more like the original Dana Brooke, but in a different ring attire and a different company, I'll tell you. Let's move on. Final match. I know I'm missing something, so I'm sorry. We got the final match, Moose versus Kushida, for the title. I'm going to tell you this. I liked the match. It wasn't bad. It was not a bad match. And seeing that, how am I going to say this? Am I happy to see that the system and Kevin Knight and Shelley was in the back? Yeah. And the thing that made it really good was letting us see them on camera in a picture-in-picture. You saw each one during the match. That was a nice touch. I will say this. Before Scott left, he had implemented several new things that I think was an actual adding feature to TNA. Let us see the people in the back. The way the advertisement for the next shows, I felt were done very well. In fact, they were done before WWE was doing them. Remember, they started giving better advertisement for the shows. At least for a little bit. I think either they're around the same time. I take that back. I think around the same time as WWE when they changed their style of how they advertise for the next show of either SmackDown or the next Raw. TNA was doing it either just ahead of them by 1 week or a month or around the same time. They didn't do it afterward. They did it around the same time. So I will say that part of the production was actually done well. I still don't like the music, but I did like that. And when we see this match, it was a good match. In the end, Moose won, of course. The system comes out, beats up everybody. Then we got... I'll give it to like this. It was very typical what we saw at the end. Everybody fighting everybody. That's just how it was until the system beat everybody up. But they got one problem. There's no woman that's working with Shelley, Kevin Knight, and Kushida. They need a woman by their side. Where is that new Japanese wrestler? That is the one we need to see. That new Japanese wrestler that came in, that may be working on Explosion, which I'm not watching because I don't have TNA Plus right now. If she's there, I wouldn't mind her being with Kushida, Alex Shelley, and Kevin Knight. They need a woman by the side to deal with Alicia Edwards. Now, I know you're going to say, dude, you actually want to see Alicia wrestle. No. But at least once in a while, they let this woman come out and let her be seen. That's what I think would be good. Just me. Peace.